Weapons magazine! Okay, so we're back in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for some more walkthrough action, and here we are in a location called Gormott, which is one of the titans in Alrest. So here we are, it's quite lush, it's quite green, it's quite nice looking, and we're gonna go and get a treasure trove to start things off, and this will just add to our kitty to help us be able to pick things up later on in the game. So we're just gonna grab all those coins, the little spinning coins that you can see, before heading down the main channel to take on the challenge of finding Naya and Gramps, who have both crash landed here in Gormott. So there's not really a great deal to do other than head down the main channel. You can see there isn't anything else to pick up. We're kind of a little bit tenuous about jumping off the edge because we're pretty sure that will result in doom. So we're going to go nowhere near that little tree that's outcropping there, and we're just going to head straight down this main channel here. And as soon as you get down here, it kicks in with yet another tutorial. This game is essentially mostly tutorial in the first kind of 25% of the game. So essentially it's talking you through 3 main ways to develop your blades. So weapon modifications help you improve the blade's weapon and make it a little bit stronger and more powerful, and you can access that through the main menu, characters, blade setup and weapon modification. And you can improve these by picking up core chips from shops as you go through the adventure. So it's well worth checking out the inventory and shops just to see if you can pick one up. Next up, we've got the affinity chart. This is essentially a chart that shows you the range of proficiencies available to a specific blade. And it's in this section that you can access kind of enhanced abilities like art and field skills to improve the capabilities of your blade, which at this moment is Pyra. You can check out what you need to do to get the affinity rewards in the affinity chart, and you just essentially hover over the affinity that you want to get and it will tell you exactly what you need to do to get it. And if you do that, you will unlock that affinity. So the last thing they're going to talk about in this tutorial is ox scores, but essentially it's just to give you the name more than give you any of the details, which is going to take you through later. So now you've got that complexity under your wing, it's time to head down here and take on some beasties. So essentially this is a good opportunity for you to practice fighting because there are so many bugs and critters for you to take on, and it's also a good chance for you to work on improving your experience points, which you can pick up from each fight. So to get one of them to come after you, it's just a case of doing what we did in the previous tutorials where we targeted them with R and then got them to come after you using the down C button. So once you've done that, you'll be able to isolate just one of them and take them out in a fight using your arts and your standard move. And once you take them out, you can see there you got an experience boost of 18, and you also got some coins for your efforts. And there are a fair few other beasties for you to take on down here, but they're not particularly tough, so we're not going to go through each and every one of them, but we'll probably skip through to the odd one or two cool ones. So this rock crabble, we're just going to skip through because he's relatively easy to beat. So we've taken out a few of the critters around this area, but we wanted to show you this Glor giraffe, which is kind of cool. It's kind of a big 4-legged thing, and it's meant to look a little bit like a giraffe and a horse and some kind of other creature, who knows what, I don't know, maybe some kind of lizard. Anyway, it's kind of pretty lofty, so it's not easy to get in huge attacks, but it's not particularly troublesome. So it's just a case of using your kind of standard attack, and then when you get a chance, really hitting up with the arts, which you can see as they're doing a sword bash, and you can see it's kind of got this electricity move, but it's not that powerful, so don't expect to be worried too much despite the fact it looks kind of big. It's just a case of slowly chipping away at it with your moves, and you will slowly grind down its HP to a point that you'll be able to defeat it. Now we've got a little potion there to pick up, and it is well worth doing that, especially when it's just going to hit you up with its electricity move. And you can see there we got in a big 323 point hit, which will help you to get a lot closer to the finish of the Glor giraffe. It's down to less than 50% now, and we're just using the anchor shot to make sure we've got enough HP to be able to finish it off. You can see there we're also kind of holding onto our special move for a point that will be helpful later on. So at the moment we're just sort of chipping away with art and the standard attack, and now we're hitting up the special, which delivers a huge amount of damage and will get us much closer to finish the Glor giraffe off. So just a few more hits and it is done. So that's the last of the critters that we're going to take on in this particular area before heading off to find Gramps. So we're just going to pick up the coins, and then it's just a case of heading off in the direction of the objective marker on the compass at the top of the screen. So you can see it's not down here, there's nothing around here to pick up. There's only some more enemies to fight down there, and realistically we just want to move on with the story. And to do that, it's just a case of heading down this right hand channel, which will queue up a new huge cinematic. Take out the rock crabble and head straight on, and that will start it off. And it essentially sees you reunited with Gramps, and he goes through a bit of a changing process. He's partially dying from the wounds he received at the end of the last mission, and he gets reincarnated in a new tiny form, which you can just about see in Rex's helmet. And you essentially pick things up here where you're heading up the path on a mission to try to find Naya. And it's just a case of taking out the clap bunnets and continuing on up this path here. Now you don't have to fight all of the beasts that you come up against. You can kind of just ignore them and walk past them if you can. However, sometimes they just start a fight anyway, and you just have to take them on. So here's just telling you about field skills and how certain collectible items can't be unlocked without field skills. But essentially this is one of the collection points, and you just head on up to it and click A to be able to pick up what's under it. Now sometimes you can't always do that without your blade having a particular field skill, but in this case we managed to get all of the pieces. And from here it's just a case of heading on up this path, taking out anyone that gets in your way and making your way a little bit closer to Naya. Now you can fight all of the baddies if you wanted to, or you can just try to avoid as many of them as possible. Some of them block the path, like these two clap bunnets, and you'll just have to fight them, but others you can just avoid. And once you do make it to the top, you'll come to this bridge, but you can see that the way is blocked by this huge tree, and we're going to need to take it out with some field skills. Luckily, Pyra has got the field skills necessary to take this fallen tree out, and we're going to show you her doing that now. So you just head on up to the tree, click A, and you will be able to use Kindle Flame to burn the shizzle out of this huge tree branch that is in the way. And then you are free to just head on up the route to be able to find Naya, which will lead you into this boss battle with the Wormeater Brog. And you can see the tutorial is kicking in again, and this time it's telling you about the weakness of this enemy. So essentially he's got a weakness for fire, which means Pyra has got an edge over him, so her flame attacks will be able to inflict a lot of damage. And then subsequently it's telling you if you manage to lose one of your drivers, you can resuscitate them and bring them back to life. So you can use the party gauge on the top left hand corner to be able to see whether or not you've got one of your 3 lives to be able to bring them back to life, which will come in handy as you take on increasingly more difficult bosses. Not necessarily like this Wormeater Brog, who is not so tough to take out, but later on in the game. Now it's also giving you a bit more about blade combos, and it's going to fill up our special gauge for us to be able to launch the special, and then hopefully we'll be able to pull off the combo. So here it's saying we'll start off with a fire element special, and then we're going to go into a water element one. So we're going to start with Pyra's level 1 special now, and we're going to try to hit the button challenge excellently, which we did, which will move on to the next section. So to link a blade combo, you'll need to use a special one level higher than the previous one. So he's going to bump up Naya's special gauge up to level 2, so we'll be able to press ZL to trigger it. So now that we've hit up with our special, we can then trigger Naya's special, which delivers a lot of damage. Now you can see the Wormeater Brog is down to close to 50%, and it's just a case of us running through the motions now. So we're using the anchor shot to be able to get in as many HP potions as we can, and you can see it delivered kind of a big blowout move to us, but we're still in the game and we picked up the potion, so we should be able to take it out. So we're going back to the standard hits, delivering the arts, and we're just kind of holding on to the next special for a section and just kind of focusing on using the arts as best we can. And now we're going to use the special because we can see that we're getting very close to being able to finish the Wormeater Brog. So it's just a case of keeping on moving around and delivering the hits and slowly chipping away at it. You can see we're down to around about 20%, 25%, and while it's hit us with a kind of a sumo move, it didn't really deal a great deal of damage, so we've got plenty of HP, especially having just picked up a little extra there, which takes us up to around 50% of our own HP. However, the bad news is that the Brog has done its own move that's built up its HP back up to 50%, so we're going to have to chip away at it again and hopefully be able to get it to a level where we can beat it a hell of a lot quicker. So we're just heading over to grab this potion quickly, and then we can get straight into attacking it from, again, just behind its hind legs, and we're just going to deliver a special to finish it off. And that cues up a huge cinematic that kind of takes you through the story of Naya and how Gramps and Pyra know each other. And we will pick things up in the walkthrough video here, heading up this path. But for now, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button, leave any comments you have below, and share with the world. Thanks guys, goodbye.